Hey guys, welcome to my review for Core 4, Episode 3 of the Thousand Year Blood War, which is Blood of My Bone. Very good episode, very good episode. Obviously, a certain character returned, which is why I'm wearing this in the middle of the episode. Well, towards the end, I had to throw my jersey on and support my boy, because yes, Kenpachi Zaraki did show back up. He showed off his Shikai to some of his colleagues. Great moment, and I'm very, very excited for the next episode. Based on the manga, I think I'm going to have to keep wearing this shirt next week. But this episode also gave us a lot of other cool additions. We got a bit more of Orihime in the action, which was really cool. I like seeing her in the thick of it. And a lot of cool perspective shots in that fight in general. A lot of like POV, like of her forming her shields and stuff. There was some really cool moments, and they emphasized some moments too that made them much more dramatic and impactful for her, which I really appreciated, because I like seeing Orihime get in on the action and fight and support Ichigo, and that was really cool. I liked that a lot. And during that fight too, they showed more of a little bit of a build-up of Ichigo's Horn of Salvation, just a little bit, compared to where the manga showed you kind of after what Ichigo's plan was. And I really liked that fight and how it's handled in the anime. I think they do a great job of showing how overwhelming Yuabaha's power is and Ichigo's speed, and how desperately he's fighting off this mass of goop and power and Soul King energy. They did a great job with that. And besides just the fight itself being adapted, they also added more emphasis on Ichibe's role and what his intentions were. Where the manga, you could infer a lot of it, and a lot of it I did think about while reading, that he was hoping to have Ichigo be the next Soul King. The anime has given it much more focus, and they made it much more explicit that that's exactly what Ichibe wanted, where the pieces were all there in the manga, but the anime made it explicit. It was like, yes, he planned to make you the Soul King, he was manipulating things, he was controlling things. That was all really cool. I liked that a lot. It was a good addition to really kind of wrap up that aspect, and we'll see what changes the anime makes, but at how that'll affect the ending of Bleach, we'll see. Because yes, that was a thought and a fear I had towards the end of Bleach, was that Ichigo was a candidate to be the Soul King, and with the additions they've already made in the anime to that storyline, which helped me think of that, which is like, we saw his training, where all the different energies were going into him, that kind of stuff. So they're being much more explicit, which I think is good. I think it's fine it was fine in the manga to kind of hint toward it, but I like that they just flat out were like, no, that was Ichibe's plan, because it was. So I like that a lot. I thought that was a good addition to make. Besides that, we also got more Uryu and Hashvalt's fight, which is insane how much they've turned that into a real fight, and all the cool shots they're doing. I think they really thought they had a blank slate with that fight, because they did. They're like, we can add all this stuff and we can just bookend it with the manga sections. We can add those conversations, but in between we can have some crazy fights. And they're like zooming all over the place, flying around, getting hit by things, and Hashvalt's still sending the shadow stuff at him, the tentacles. I am a little confused why Hashvalt has the Almighty Eye still while Yuabaha's awake, but I guess he's not really using the Almighty powers, and instead it's the shadow stuff is just Quincy shadow stuff. I don't know, but the fight's really cool, so I'm okay with it. And I like the way, too, this episode in particular was paralleling Ichigo and Uryu's two scenes, where they were saying things that were, he's like, this is what I think Ichigo would say, and then it cut to Ichigo saying presumably what Uryu believed he would say. So it was really cool. I liked the parallel between them. And the Thousand Year Blood War anime has just done an incredible job of making Uryu so much more of a factor and so much more of a main character, and really putting the focus on the fact that him and Ichigo are kind of parallel protagonists of this arc, just on separate sides. So I really enjoyed that. I've been loving that additional fight, and like I've said before, the manga, I was fine with that conversation that was kind of barely a fight, but if we're going to put in a fight, definitely make it cool, and that's what they've done. It's really good. I'm excited to see I'm sure they're going to add more to how that fight eventually ends, so we'll see, because that could be potentially very interesting. depending on what they change. So I like that a lot. And also for the first time in this core, we really get back to the Gerard Valkyrie fight, which ended in Core 3 with the Visored all masking up in a big Avengers Assemble moment that wasn't in the manga, and it was like, yes, the Visored are going to get more of a fight than they did in the manga. They're going to maybe get a whole big additional sequence. And they do, but they don't. You know, it's like you get a little bit, like a small. There's a couple cool moments, like a couple. There's the moment where they all reassemble at one point and they all shoot these colored beams. It looks really cool. It's like a Power Rangers looking moment. I like that. They get a couple little action moments in between, but not really. You know, it was cool though. It's better than nothing. Is really how I'm thinking about it. Like it's cool, but the way they ended that core with all of them ready to fight, and then even at the beginning of this core, when we did the whole zoom around the location, you saw the Visored are all gathered about to fight him, and then when we see them now, they're all running away and hiding from him at first, and then fighting him a little bit, and you get a couple moments, but it isn't the big Visored sequence I was kind of dreaming of, you know, but that's okay. The Visored kind of gets shortchanged quite often. But yeah, I was a little disappointed just because of how we ended Core 2 with the thought that, oh, they're going to get a lot. And then, not really. So, but that's alright. That's alright. I'll survive. I'll survive. But it was a good scene. It was a good scene. And like I said, it's better than nothing. It's better than nothing. I just wish they got a little bit more. Just a little bit. I don't need a whole crazy whole episode of them. But just a little bit more would have been great. They did have a couple cool moments, though. There was the moment where, like, Kensei and Mashiro had these cool poses where they fought him. And like I said, the big moment, too, where they all assemble together with their masks for a second and shoot at him. It's cool. I love seeing the hollow masks again. They've gotten a little bit more than the manga. I'm just going to appreciate that we got a little bit. Because, yeah, they really weren't much of a factor in the manga at this point. And then we get to the real fight with Gerard, which is, you know, Hitsugaya and Byakuya, and then Hitsugaya had some cool moments. I think his powers work better for me in the anime because you really get those effects of like the cold mist in the air, and you feel it more, and it really does portray the cold pretty well, and how quickly the breath just can like freeze, you know, Gerard in place, and that was really cool. Yeah, I was surprised they kept the Byakuya Hitsugaya debate little moment where they're arguing about, you know, if he was insinuating that Hitsugaya is short and stuff. I thought that was funny that they kept that, because the Thousand Year Blood War has kind of cut out a lot of funny little moments before, so I thought that would probably be a moment they would cut away. But it was funny, and I'm glad they kept it. Hitsugaya's voice actor, I usually have been watching the anime in dub. As people know, I've seen some scenes in sub, but Hitsugaya I prefer in sub for sure. Like, it's not even close. Like, I think Hitsugaya, his Japanese voice really makes him sound like more of a child and a younger person, and I think that helps with his portrayal. Where I don't dislike his English voice acting, I just think he sounds very mature. Where I think his Japanese actor sounds immature, which I think helps. Really drive home the fact that he's young. You know, he's young for a Soul Reaper. And then, of course, you got the big Kenny moment, and I had to switch my shirt because the teaser at the beginning of the episode teased that he was emerging from his healing pod, which was great. But I was like, is he gonna show up by the end of this episode? He did, and he kicked ass. It was great to see him as always. The episode was winding down, and I'm like, where are we ending this episode? Because there are a few places maybe you could be leaving it on a big cliffhanger for what's coming next, but instead they I think smartly ended this episode on a note of despair, because Gerard's sword is spreading despair as it's chipping away, and it's looking bad for everyone. But there's a small hint that some good things might be on the horizon, depending on how you view it, as, you know, Hitsugaya's Bankai is starting to drip away, and it leaves on a very like, oh no, this might be hopeless note. We'll see. We'll see. All I can say, as a manga reader that has now read the manga, I am very excited for potentially what's coming next episode. Very excited. That's going to get me through the week, is knowing I'm gonna probably be wearing this shirt again next week. So I gotta make sure it's clean and ready to go. Put my jersey back on. We'll see. We'll see. But good episode. Good episode. Of the first three, this might have been my favorite. Mainly, I mean, Kenpachi. But I just liked a lot of the additions. I thought they were really smart. Episode 2, though, was also very good with those. So it's tough. It's a tough call. But so this was the final thing you guys who saw it at the movie theater saw, correct? You saw the first 3 episodes. So this is where it ended, I imagine. Which means next week will be new for all of us. So that'll be cool. Yeah, this would have been cool to see on the big screen too. Just Gerard's size, the Ichigo and Yuabaha fight. I mean, that must have been cool looking too. But yeah, so we're moving past where some people watched like a month ago. So that'll be nice that we're all going to be on the same page. But yeah, that'll do it for this episode. As always, guys, you can see my reaction for this episode over on Patreon. Me and Hulu were in a war while I was watching this episode, and there's some of it in the reaction. I cut away a bunch of it because I was getting so frustrated because the episode's credits come so soon. There's like 7 minutes left of the episode, but the credits come early. So Hulu was like, oh, the episode's over. And I didn't have my autoplay off, so it starts immediately sending me to somewhere else. And I kept doing it. I figured out autoplay, and then the Hulu screen kept still acting like the episode's over. You don't want to, I couldn't take away the little like timeline thing, and it was trying to recommend me things. I'm like, the episode's not over. I know they put the credits in early, but that's just, we got a lot after the credits. We had the whole Gerard Hitsugaya Kenpachi stuff afterward. Don't send me away from that. That's what I'm here for. I wanted to watch that. So it was a bit of a struggle, and if you watch the reaction, you will see me struggle. But we made it through. Yeah, it was rough, but it's a journey in itself. So if you want to see my reaction to this episode, go over to Patreon. Yeah, I drop reactions there every week, and then I come over here for the review. So check out my reaction over there. It was a lot of fun. And as for what's coming up, tomorrow here on the channel, I am doing my first tier list for a Bleach topic. And I don't know if it's a topic anyone will guess. It's a pretty niche one. It was fun to do. I don't know how well it turned out as a tier list. It was my first time doing it. But I'm going to release it tomorrow, and I think we'll have fun. It's a pretty chill time, so that's exciting, and I'll see you guys then for that. Otherwise, I'll see you next week for more of the 1,000-Year Blood War as we get, hopefully, some good stuff coming. So that was episode 3 of Cour 4 out of 10 episodes, so we're getting into it now. We're like a third of the way through, which is so sad, but it's getting good, and I'm so excited to see what they add towards the end. Should be interesting. Alright, I'll see you guys later. Thanks for being here. If you want to support the channel more, join the Patreon. I got reactions and read-alongs, tons of stuff over there. Otherwise, thanks for being here. Please comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you all soon. Take care. Bye.